I swear Gugu cannot get a break. As we got into the 8th episode of To Your Eternity, get a little more insight into Gugu and what he has to kind of go through on a daily basis. So let's jump into it. As this episode opens up, we have Rin decide that she wants to work at the brewery alongside the rest of them. Old man's kind of okay with this idea, but unfortunately, Gugu is not too okay with that idea. Mainly because you kind of see his frustration, the fact that she is so fascinated by Fushi, but still, it's not his choice. The girl is actually going to start working there, and apparently also live there, which is, of course, something that's a little bit weird in the idea that she is seemingly from a noble family, but yet she's going to be living there, but we'll get more into that later, hopefully. As we jump into Gugu himself, he's trying to figure out a way of kind of helping Rin recover a little bit quicker, because she still has this injury that she wants to get healed up. And so in asking the old man's like, yeah, sure, I got an option. And he opens up this cork out of Gugu, his face, and then starts pulling a liquid out of his face, which ends up being this distilled alcohol, which he's been distilling inside of him. He's like, well, why is that in me? And he's like, oh, well, when I was fixing you up, I put a new organ in there. I just wanted to see if you could distill alcohol within a human, and hey, it's working out. This stuff will work great for her. And this is obviously not a good thing, and obviously very, very haunting to Gugu. So he decides, in a fit of rage and that he would do this to him, he runs away from home. And as he's out and about, deciding that he's just going to live on his own, get enough money so that he can get a doctor to remove this alcohol from him, he just starts to work at the farm that he was working at before. Guy's like, sure, I don't know why you have this thing on your head, but sure, you can come work for me. And the guy even offers to have Gugu stay at his place with his family. And as he's there, the kid's like, no, I don't want him to live in this house because the people in the village are just talking about him and he's a monster. And Gugu's like, that's true. If I'm going to stay here, it's got to be, a place where everybody loves each other. And so he removes his helmet to say, could you love this? And of course, everybody's just distraught at what they see. And he decides that night that, I can't do this. I got to leave. And even though the father is like willing to say, look, I'm sorry what my son said, but you can still come back to work at least. And he's like, yeah, sure. Thank you so much. And this is kind of this one little ray of hope for Gugu, and the idea that everybody else is terrible and treats him like he's a monster, but he has this one person that is willing to kind of accept him for who he is, and that's something that helps him kind of move on. And as he's attacked by a group of people who take his helmet and throw it into the river, he decides, what the heck, might as well just not wear it. I mean, people are going to call me a monster anyways at that point, so he decides to, just go into the village and just live his life without the helmet on. And of course, everybody's disgusted by this, but he kind of just continues to try to push himself through. One night, the son of the farmer's father decides to come by and tell him, look, stay away. I know my dad's accepting of you, but our family doesn't need this. All the rumors about us is getting terrible. Just stay away. And that's the point in which Gugu finally decides, what? I hate this all. I'm going to give up. I don't want to work there and ruin this guy's poor name. And he eventually runs into his brother. His brother is in an alleyway. He's pretty much skin and bones. And this is just after he decides that he was going to sell the ring that Ring give him, but he decides to not. He's like, a monster with money is nothing anyways. He decides to give the brother the ring, which is like, oh, crap, don't give it to that brother. But he does. And then eventually at one night he's kidnapped, but Fushi comes to rescue him. On the other side, with Fushi himself, we do get a little glimpse of him experimenting with Gugu and the idea of manifesting things. Like, what else can you do? And he manifests a spear, and then we find out that it's, of course, only things that harm him and, cause some kind of stimulation to him that he's able to mimic it. And even though he tries to burn his hand with a torch, all he does is create the torch rod itself and not the flame. Additionally, after Gugu leaves, he has to start to kind of pick up where Gugu is no longer there, so he's obviously cooking terribly, he's cleaning terribly, and he asks the shaman at some point to help him. And I really do like this scene because the shaman's like, look, if you want to be taught, go get Gugu. He'll teach you. He's the best one to do that. And in order to bribe the shaman, he quickly imagines March and offers these little mud balls like she did in her memories. So I really like that aspect of him kind of recalling that aspect of March. But of course, here it's not really necessarily going to work. He's not a cute March. He looks like an older boy. And as Rin kind of questions why she won't help him or why she's pushing him away, she claims that he needs to basically grow closer to being a human faster. She can't baby him, basically. And so obviously this is kind of mentioning the idea that, eventually he's going to have to fit in somehow. He's going to have to blend in better. And if she keeps babying him and if he's not learning, he's never going to be able to survive, essentially. So, but yeah, overall, a really solid episode, really kind of getting into the mindset of people and their discrimination against Gugu, as he is this, he's different and he's deformed, and the nastiness of humankind around them that is really kind of pitching this blame upon him for being different. Obviously, somebody out of the norm that nobody can seem to accept, which is, yes, very, very heartbreaking. But obviously something that'll push him eventually to accepting what he is, hopefully. And at the same time, seeing a little more of Fushi learning, getting to know things, trust, experimentations, the willingness to tell somebody no is obviously a main key thing there. And learning to kind of lean on people. This is it's a pinnacle point in the story where he needs Gugu. Gugu is this knowledge that he needs, so he needs to seek that out and lean on it a little bit. So definitely a solid episode. I think the next episode's probably going to be like a really stellar one. I think if I remember correctly, the key points in that particular one should be a solid episode. So I really do look forward to talking about that one specifically. But I hope you guys enjoyed my impressions of the 8th episode of To Your Eternity. If you did, please leave a like down below, comment, let me know what you thought of the episode, subscribe if you haven't already, share this video if you can, and y'all take care.